What is the craziest thing you did in high school?
In my freshman year in PE class, we had two bullies who were pals. Larry and Scott would choose a victim, jump them in the dressing room, pull down their victim's pants, baby powder the victim's ass, and throw them out the window into the yard so that the rest of the school could look out the window and chuckle at the spectacle. Seeing as these two were gigantic farm boys, us littler guys had no chance. The coaches either didn't know what was going on or didn't care, as they never got punished for it. They got suspended for a few days, during which we rejoiced at not having to go through the baby powder ritual. They'd been caught skipping class. During that 3-day period, we victims got together and decided to see what could be done about the situation. One of the boys mused that when the bullies attacked, none of us jumped in to help the victim. And there were at least 24 of us. Larry and Scott returned. Like usual, they scanned for a victim and settled on Charlie. They grabbed him and a struggle ensued. But this time, things had changed. Without them realizing it, they were surrounded by 24 guys hell-bent on revenge. We didn't just pull down their pants, we stripped them naked. We not only baby powdered their ass, we dragged them to the shower, wet their hair, and then put baby powder in their hair. A few went to lock the entrance we used to get into the dressing room. We then carried them to the window and threw them out. In December. In snow. 2 naked baby powdered guys standing in the snow shivering like crazy, banging on the door demanding to be let in. They set up such a frenzy that people went to the windows to see what the fuss was about. Half the school now knew what Larry and Scott looked like naked. The coach came down and demanded to know what was going on. He unlocked the door and let them in. Strangely, no one knew how they got locked out or why they were naked. No one knew anything. We were all as innocent as newborn babes. We got chewed out and had to do extra laps, but it was worth it. For the rest of their time in high school, they were the target of ridicule. They both ended up dropping out as soon as they turned 16. No one was sorry to see them gone. Batch of 250 students wore monkey cap, shawl, and sunglasses during classes. It was among the last days of our high school. Our seniors had done some pretty mischievous things before they left school, like bursting crackers, leaving pets like dogs and hens, etc. Now the responsibility was on us. We didn't want to get into some serious problems like our seniors, so we had to think of something creative, new, and crazy, but had to be on the safe side. Every day unofficial meeting were held to discuss about it. We did get some cool ideas, but few were too expensive to afford or too risky. One day a brilliant mind spoke about his idea. His plan attracted everybody's attention. His plan was to get monkey cap, a shawl, and an aviator sunglass from each of our respective houses. Put them on for the whole day, during all the 8 periods, 2 recesses and after-school ride on our vehicles around the school. It was not harmful to anybody. If asked why all are dressed up like that, we could easily say, it's too cold today. Finally the D-Day came. All of us were wearing monkey caps, aviator, and shawl wrapped around our body. We were approximately 250 in number, and all of us were dressed in this particular manner. Every teacher that came to teach couldn't stop their laughter, and due to that distraction all our 40 minutes period had just 15 to 20 minutes left. It's been 4 years since that day, and still all the faculty member remember us due to this incident. An unauthorized movie night in the auditorium my sophomore year. I consider this one of my greatest life achievements. My school had an auditorium that rivaled the local movie theaters, complete with an air-conditioned ticket booth out front. Big stage, professional lighting and sound with programmable timers, theater-style seats with room for a ton of people, projector and drop screen, laser disc player, snack bar, the works. I was in the A/V club, and we ran all of that equipment for school functions. The teacher assigned to babysit our club was an aging hippie, a laid-back math teacher with a ponytail and Hawaiian shirts I suspect were recovered from a 1960s time capsule. Anyway, he didn't actually understand any of the tech, and we were the good little nerds who never got in trouble, so he pretty much just stayed out of the way and let us do our thing. He even gave us our own sets of keys to the auditorium and control booth so we could set up and tear down before and after school functions, and he wouldn't have to bother with supervising after hours. So a couple of us got the bright idea that we could make some money by hosting a movie night in the auditorium. Run a movie, charge for tickets and sell snacks, pocket some cash. Of course, we didn't actually clear this with anyone involved with the school, we just did it. The first movie we selected was Jurassic Park. Mostly because it was the only video we had on Laserdisc. We printed posters and hung them around school, advertising movie night. We stocked the snack bar with soda, popcorn, and candy from the dollar store. We bought a roll of those tear-off raffle tickets. Everything was a go. On the big night, a lot of people showed up. This was a school of 2,000 students, and a couple hundred came. Students, parents, and siblings, a few teachers, the cash from ticket and snack sales was rolling in, and we're loving every minute of it. The movie hadn't started yet, and my radio goes off. It's the kid in the ticket booth, informing us that one of the assistant principals is walking up. "Shit man, we're gonna get busted," he says into the walkie-talkie. "Shut up, just be cool. Act like we're supposed to be here." I reply. We're all watching, chests pounding. The assistant principal approaches the booth, and gets in line. She buys a ticket and goes inside. LOL. We barely had enough seats, and ran out of snacks and drinks, but other than that, movie night went off without a hitch. The administration had no idea it wasn't a sanctioned event. They thought it was an A/V Club fundraiser and just assumed one of the other administrators authorized it. In reality, we were just lining our pockets. We bought a few more movies and did movie night for 3 more weeks before the school finally figured it out, shut us down, and we all got suspended for a week. I got an extra week in the form of in-school suspension on top of it for being the ringleader. We had to give our keys back, plus the money we made. We didn't tell them the real number, but we ended up giving about $1,000 to the school. So my first day back, I'm sitting there in the in-school suspension classroom, dreading the week that was to come as I'm stuck with all of the bad kids who were mostly there for fighting. They surround my desk like a pack of wolves circling their next target, asking what I was in for. So I tell them, and they're all like, "That was you," and instantly I'm accepted into the tribe. Apparently word about our little operation had gone around school the week I was out. Later that same day, the teacher who ran the AV club comes in looking serious and says he needs to speak to me outside. "They took A/V club away from me," he says. Then his stern look breaks into a knowing smile, followed by laughter. "You got balls, kid. Big ones. Now get your ass back in there and don't do anything like that again." He was still laughing as he walked away. Following my in-school suspension, things went back to normal. We were all even allowed to continue the A/V club, but only because nobody else knew how to work the equipment. And it was always under supervision after that. According to some of my friends who witnessed this, possibly the craziest thing I did while in high school was get out of a fight with a particular student. Backstory: I was a senior and this girl who was a frosh or soph was sitting in front of my locker. She was a stubborn kid, and when I asked her to move so I could open my locker, she did not move. So on tiptoe I spun my lock and the lock fell on her head. Obviously she was in pain. I apologized but told her she should have moved. Later in the day the girl's tough female friend confronted me. "You dropped a lock on my friend's head. It was an accident. I'm gonna beat the blank out of you." This kid threatened me. Of course kids gathered around. I told this kid I was willing to fight her but no biting, no scratching, and no pulling hair, and we would have to fight outside of the school because I had a very good rep to uphold. I repeated my requests and she just looked at me, then said, "You're F***ing nuts," and walked away. Fight over. Now, this isn't a personal achievement of mine, rather the exploits of one of the most brilliant and hardworking students I have ever seen, did during his high school careers. This kid, let's call him G, had been homeschooled up until 11th grade. All his extracurriculars were individual activities such as piano, and being homeschooled left him with little interaction with other people his age. Thus he was quite socially awkward, He quickly got over it, however, and later explained to me that he just did what he wanted and didn't care about other people's opinions. He was a quintessential maverick genius. As a result of being homeschooled, he had to take some mandatory grade 10 courses to earn the credit for graduation. Graduation required certain courses from grade 10, 11, and 12, and so he became well acquainted with the 10th grade class. For some absurd reason, he told the class his name was Morgan, and it wasn't until the end of the semester that people realized it wasn't actually his name, but by then everyone had become so used to calling him Morgan that the name stuck. He skipped classes all the time and his marks were abysmal. Despite this, the math teacher, one of the most qualified and brilliant teachers in the school, had grown quite fond of him and realized that he was in fact absolutely brilliant, often working out long proofs or using, unbeknownst to him, calculus to solve questions that would leave the rest of the class baffled. As a result, he would often sub for other math teachers when they asked him to and joined the nerd herd that was the school math team, which consisted of him and a senior who had completed the highest level of math the school could offer by his sophomore year and was taking 2 math courses with a local university. Then he transferred to a school in a different province, a rural, backwater school in a rural backwater province that was full of future farmers and fishermen who didn't give a rat's ass about school. They had a grand total of 3 AP course, AP Bio, AP Chem and AP Physics, with that had class sizes averaging on 8. Now this is where I met him. I like to think of myself as a smart guy. I had good marks and planned to go to university for engineering, unlike 90% of our student body. He told the entire school his name was Gaius, taking the name of Julius Caesar, and to date, most people still don't know his real name. He and I bonded while discussing AP courses and we became fast friends. Our school has a policy that in order to take AP courses you must first take the corresponding subject at a grade 12 level and score above a certain threshold, usually 85%. And because of the way our classes were organized, almost no one could take all 3 AP courses since other, mandatory classes would get in the way. Within 2 weeks of arriving, he already had been guaranteed seats in all 3 AP classes, bypassing the mandatory grade 12 Bio and Chem courses. And earned the nickname Batman because of this pair of Ray-Bans he wore day in and day out. We later learned they were prescription glasses because his glasses needed fixing all the same, a great way to earn a badass nickname. The teachers were all ecstatic to have this kid, and he was the talk of our, admittedly small, school for quite a while. He finished the semester and vanished. We later learned that his family situation had been the cause for his moving and transfer, and it was a tumultuous time for him. His mother, who was a bit unstable and a borderline religious fanatic, decided she needed a break from his father, and once he had finished the semester, she decided to return home with him. We were all sad to see him go. He was funny, brilliant, and well-liked. He constantly joked about how arrogant he was, while in actuality, he was about as humble as they came. Summer rolled around and the first day of school hits. What seems to be the entire graduating class has Physics 12 together because we lost one of our only 2 physics teachers, and everyone always found Physics 11 to be easy and took Physics 12 to satisfy the grade 12 science requirement. Teacher goes through roll call, hits Gaius, and everyone is quick to explain he isn't coming back. Rest of the week passes in a blur. Most people settle back into the school routine. The entire week, the teacher always calls Gaius before he was reminded of the absence. Monday rolls around and the teacher is lecturing us about vectors and whatnot. Everyone is kinda dozing off. Knock knock. Who the F*** K actually wants to come to physics class? Some jock pipes up and the class loses it before shutting up the instant the door opens. Gaius strides in, wearing an honest-to-goodness crown and a pair of Ray-Ban Wayfarers with the cockiest, brightest smile I've ever seen. "Miss me?" And everyone loses it. The class freaks out and everyone's running up to him. His GF starts crying, his best friend starts crying, the physics teacher is laughing, and the class is totally derailed. Well, for the rest of the semester, our class is pretty tame. Gaius obliterates the physics exam with a 99.2% and aces his other classes. And the shit got real. It's now the final semester of grade 12. And the hero of our story has a problem. He's missing courses required to graduate, several courses, too many to fit into the 1 semester we have left. We only have 4 courses per semester, and he was adamant about taking the 3 AP courses and calculus. So what did he do? Forgo his AP courses and calculus and take an intensive 5-course load? Decide to go back to high school? Cry? Nope. This Wunderkind decided to take more AP courses. And not just 1 or 2, no, he took 3 extra AP courses. Calculus AB, English language and composition, and physics 2. He now has 5 courses required for graduation, 6 AP courses and calculus. All fitted into 1 semester. He's not one of those kids who has no extracurricular life either. He's an incredible pianist and was a member of a swim team that was an hour's drive away. So this kid took 12 courses in a semester. He had 6 AP courses and then 8 independent courses. All the while taking 4 hours after school each day to drive to and from swim practice and then spending hours practicing piano. He constantly missed school. All his friends were berating him for it. They called him lazy and stupid and made fun of him, all of which he took in stride. They constantly complained about him because he would get extensions on assignments and tests. While this is a bit unfair, he was as honorable as they come, absolutely refusing to ask about test details or copy assignments. The teachers were a bit concerned about it, but most of them did not know the lengths to which he had gone. He absolutely annihilated his course load. This kid, with 12 courses in a single semester, scored 6 5s on his AP courses, passed with a 97% average, came second in the province in the 100-meter backstroke and completed his ARCT. If that isn't the most insane thing I've ever seen, I don't know what qualifies. The old saying, hindsight is 20/20, is especially true for high school-aged students. My friends and I did some pretty stupid/crazy things. We weren't bad kids, mind you, just mischievous and bored. Not a great combo. So our school decided to host a little competition similar to America's Got Talent. If you couldn't perform your talent live, you had the ability to submit a video of whatever it was. One kid did a pretty technical dive from a high dive, another filmed himself shooting a target from 500 yards out, etc. And then we had Matt, one of my best friends and the single craziest human being I've ever had close interaction with. We used to say if he lived to age 25 it'd be a miracle. He's 28 today, so miracle achieved. Anyways, Matt gets this brilliant idea, to light himself on fire. And film it. And submit it for the competition. And what did we, his smart and strapping young friends, do? We helped him plan and execute it, of course. Again, in hindsight, he could have died. My friends and I very well could have been charged with a felony for our involvement. But thankfully, he wasn't hurt and I'm able to write about it on Quora. We chose Brandon's house, since his house was pretty close to his pool. Matt's brilliant idea was to light himself on fire, jump like a ninja from the roof, and douse himself in the pool. He soaked his undershirt, underwear, ski mask, and shoes in cold water to protect himself, and then donned a jacket and pants which we sprayed with engine starter fluid, which is basically gasoline in aerosol can, very flammable. Matt got mentally psyched up and said, "Let's do it." At which point Jared just lit his lighter and touched it to Matt's clothes. He quite literally burst into flames. "Oh shit!" Matt loudly exclaimed and starts running and jumps. He holds this crane-like pose and flies through the air for what seems like an eternity. He hits the water and all trace of flames disappear. A rousing white from all of us on the roof met Matt as he swam to the surface and got out of the pool. We left quickly since Brandon's parents had no idea what we were doing, and Matt submitted the tape for the competition. The judges were adults who knew better than us though. They called Matt's parents, who in turn contacted all of us. 2 of my friends had to go to a class at a fire station on burn victims. Matt's parents made him do community service with the fire marshal, and my parents made me write a 3-page paper on choice and accountability, which was torture for a 17 years old. If my parents knew about the burn victim class, I have no doubt they would have sent me to it. They were rightfully upset, since Matt could have been seriously hurt. This group of friends all grew up to be relatively responsible adults with relationships, careers, and even kids, but man, we did crazy things as teenagers. Once another friend and I switched places so he could be the driver and I the passenger, while the car was moving at 60 miles per hour on a dirt road. I then got on the roof of the car with two of my friends who were sitting in the back. We were idiots, but we survived and thankfully never hurt anybody. Watched porn in classroom when my science teacher was explaining how to write boards paper. So it happened 6 years ago. Somewhere in January 2012, 1.5 months before the board exams. So I am a girl and was shy in my school days. We had a girls group of 6 people, every one of whom managed to have a boyfriend at some time or other, just for fun, of course except me. Back then we were not allowed to carry mobile phones in our school. I guess it is allowed now in my school. R was my friend and K was her boyfriend. K managed to get a mobile to school with porn clips. R borrowed it from him. All of us, 6 girls, sat on desk, made a circle and started peeping in phone in the break time. We watched first clip, then second one, and then on and on. Didn't want it to stop. It was first time I was watching something like this, except the very boring Bollywood kissing scenes and of course the Titanic scene. Then it was time for science class. My 2 friends was sitting on front desk and me and other one behind them. We were listening to teachers. Suddenly R asked, "You wanna see it?" I was shocked and surprised but couldn't deny. I just said, "Really?" and she started the clip. Of course it was muted. I was scared to death. One side I was looking at the phone and on another side at teacher's face. Well, we didn't get caught. It was fun. All of us passed boards with flying colors and I managed to score 95 out of 100 in science. Not bad, huh?
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future also. Don't forget to like and subscribe to you never miss a video.